Deep time. Deep time is a term introduced and applied by John McPhee to the concept of geologic time in his Basin and Range 1981, parts of which originally appeared in the New Yorker magazine. The philosophical concept of geological time was developed in the 18th century by Scottish geologist James Hutton 1726–1797. His system of the habitable earth was a deistic mechanism keeping the world eternally suitable for humans. The modern concept shows huge changes over the age of the earth, which has been determined to be, after a long and complex history of developments, around 4.55 billion years. Scientific concept. Hutton based his view of deep time on a form of geochemistry that had developed in Scotland and Scandinavia from the 1750s onward. As mathematician John Playfair, one of Hutton's friends and colleagues in the Scottish Enlightenment, early geologists such as Nicholas Steno (1638–1686) and Horace Benedict de Saussure (1740–1799) had developed ideas of geological strata forming from water through chemical processes, which Abraham Gottlob Werner (1749–1817) developed into a theory known as Neptunism, envisaging the slow crystallization of minerals in the ancient oceans of the earth to form rock. Hutton's innovative 1785 theory, based on Plutonism, visualized an endless cyclical process of rocks forming under the sea, being uplifted and tilted, then eroded to form new strata under the sea. In 1788, the sight of Hutton's unconformity at Sakar Point convinced Playfair and Hall of this extremely slow cycle, and in that same year Hutton memorably wrote, "We find no vestige of a beginning, no prospect of an end." Other scientists, such as Georges Cuvier (1769–1832), put forward ideas of past ages, and geologists such as Adam Sedgwick (1785–1873) incorporated Werner's ideas into concepts of catastrophism. Sedgwick inspired his university student Charles Darwin to explain what a capital hand is Sedgwick sick for drawing large checks upon the bank of time. In a competing theory, Charles Lyell in his Principles of Geology 1830–1833 developed Hutton's comprehension of endless deep time as a crucial scientific concept into uniformitarianism. As a young naturalist and geological theorist, Darwin studied the successive volumes of Lyell's book exhaustively during the Beagle survey voyage in the 1830s, before beginning to theorize about evolution. Physicist Gregory Benford addresses the concept in Deep Time, How Humanity Communicates Across Millennia 1999, as does paleontologist and nature editor Henry G. In Search of Deep Time, Beyond the Fossil Record, to a New History of Life 2001. Stephen Jay Good's Time's Arrow, Time's Cycle 1987 also deals in large part with the evolution of the concept. In Time's Arrow, Time's Cycle, Good cited one of the metaphors McPhee used in explaining the concept of deep time. Consider the Earth's history as the old measure of the English yard, the distance from the king's nose to the tip of his outstretched hand. Stroke of a nail file on his middle finger erases human history. Concepts similar to geologic time were recognized in the 11th century by the Persian geologist and polymath Avicenna ibn Sina (973–1037), and by the Chinese naturalist and polymath Shen Kuo (1031–1095). The Roman Catholic theologian Thomas Berry (1914–2009) explored spiritual implications of the concept of deep time. Berry proposes that a deep understanding of the history and functioning of the evolving universe is a necessary inspiration and guide for our own effective functioning as individuals and as a species. This view has greatly influenced the development of deep ecology and ecophilosophy. The experiential nature of the experience of deep time has also greatly influenced the work of Joanna Macy. H. G. Wells and Julian Huxley regarded the difficulties of coping with the concept of deep time as exaggerated. The use of different scales is simply a matter of practice, they said in The Science of Life 1929. We very soon get used to maps, though they are constructed on scales down to 100 millionth of natural size. To grasp geological time, all that is needed is to stick tight to some magnitude which shall be the unit on the new and magnified scale. A million years is probably the most convenient to grasp its meaning once and for all by an effort of imagination, and then to think of all passage of geological time in terms of this unit. Footnotes. General references. Webb. Campbell, Anthony 2001. Book Review In Search of Deep Time. Darwin, C.R. 1831-79. Darwin Correspondence Project Letter 101 Darwin, C.R. to Fox, W.D. 9 July 1831. Archived from the original on 16 January 2009. Retrieved 26 March 2010. Korthoff, Gert 2000. A Revolution in Paleontology. Review of Henry G's In Search of Deep Time. Montgomery, Keith 2003. Siccar Point and Teaching the History of Geology PDF. University of Wisconsin. Retrieved 2008 326. Palmer, A.R., Zen, E.N. Critical Issues Committee ed. The Context of Humanity, Understanding Deep Time. Geological Society of America. Rance, Hugh 1999. Hutton's Unconformities PDF. Historical Geology. The Present is the Key to the Past. QCC Press. Press. Archived from the original PDF on 2008 12/3. Retrieved 2008 10/20. Books. Iolenti, Vincent 2020. Deep Time Reckoning, How Future Thinking Can Help Earth Now. Cambridge, Massachusetts, The MIT Press. McPhee, John 1998-1981. Basin and Range. Annals of the Former World. p. 77. ISBN 0-374 10520. Ripchek, Jack 2003. Chapters 2 and 5. The Man Who Found Time, James Hutton and the Discovery of the Earth's Antiquity. Cambridge, Perseus Books. ISBN 0-7382-692-X. Rossi, Paolo 1984. The Dark Abyss of Time, The History of the Earth, and the History of Nations from Hook to Vico tr. By Lydia Cochrane, Chicago, University of Chicago Press pp. 338, ISBN 226728358. Sivin, Nathan 1995. Science in Ancient China, Researches and Reflections. Brookfield, Vermont, Ashgate Publishing Variarum Series. pp. Roman 3 23-24. Talman, Stephen Goodfield, June 1965. The Ancestry of Science, The Discovery of Time. University of Chicago Press. p. 64. White, Andrew Dixon 1896. A History of the Warfare of Science with Theology in Christendom. New York, D. Appleton and Company. Winchester, Simon 2001. Chapter 2. The Map That Changed the World, William Smith and the Birth of Modern Geology. New York, HarperCollins. ISBN 06-19361-1. Journals. Iolenti, Vincent 2014. Adjudicating Deep Time, Revisiting the United States High-Level Nuclear Waste Repository Project at Yucca Mountain. Science and Technology Studies. 27-2. SSRN 2,457,896. Kubisek, Robert 2008-31. Ages in Chaos, James Hutton and the Discovery of Deep Time. The Historian. 71, 142-143. ISBN 978-07653-1238-9. Playfair, John 1805. Hutton's Unconformity. Transactions of the Royal Society of Edinburgh. V. Roman 3.